Picture this. It's December 2020, 11 months from today. You wake up with tons of notifications, more links from family and friends.
We have won the votes of young people.
Every day, there are new articles trying to explain the green wave, record youth turnout that elected President Sanders in a landslide. Your friends are texting you, are we really gonna do this? Are you going tomorrow? Millions of young people have pledged to take to the streets to kick off a mass youth strike for a Green New Deal. On the news, they're predicting that the first day alone will be bigger than even the Women's March. It really feels like another world is possible. Okay, I'm just daydreaming, but here's the thing about that picture. We actually have the power to make it real over the next 11 months. Whether we can pull it off is up to people like you and me.
Donald Trump's presidency, it has some critics raising the question, is our democracy in danger?
This year is a pivotal point in our country's history, the kind that only comes once in a generation. And with climate change bearing down on us and our window to act closing by the day, one thing is clear. It's now or never. What we do in the next 11 months will make or break our generation's shot at a livable world and a society that works for all people, no matter the color of their skin, how much money they have, or where they are from. We have the power this year to not only beat Donald Trump and inaugurate a new president, but to inaugurate a new chapter in American history, the decade of the Green New Deal. Here's how we're gonna do it. Organize, vote, strike.
There are a lot of ways that people try to make change. Some say we have to go at it alone. Some believe that more people knowing the truth about the science will open the path for action. Others say we're doomed, or that we just need to develop more technology. For our entire lives, this is how so many have tried to stop the climate crisis, and it has just gotten worse. Every institution in our society has failed to address this problem. We're so late in addressing the crisis, at this point we literally cannot afford less than a heroic mobilization in every sector of society. Like when we got out of the Great Depression, defeated Hitler in Nazi Germany, or landed on the moon. The only institution capable of leading an effort that big is the federal government. How do we make the government do that? There are essentially two ways to make our government do what we need: money and people power. The opposition has money and they are spending it. Our institutions have failed us for decades because fossil fuel billionaires, like the Koch brothers, have spent piles of money buying our politicians and sowing doubt about the reality of climate change. What we have is so much more powerful: people. And people power can beat money any day, but only if we organize. It may seem like a fancy word, but anyone can do it. All it takes is talking to people and bringing them into the movement. From the lunch counter sit-ins of the civil rights movement to the movement to end the AIDS crisis, young people have been on the forefront of social movements throughout history. Looking closely at that history, we see that there's one thing that can take on the wealthy and powerful and win: a massive, cross-class, multiracial movement that forces the political establishment to start acting in the interests of the people. That is the movement we are organizing this year. Like past movements, we need to be big and we need to be disruptive. With a massive movement that disrupts business as usual, we can deliver an undeniable mandate to the incoming Congress and administration to begin enacting a Green New Deal on day one.
Okay, we're going to build a powerful movement, but there's still an elephant in the room here. Do you think millions of us in the streets are going to seriously move this guy?
Green New Deal, a massive government takeover. It would shut down a little thing called air travel.
There are some politicians who will probably never do the right thing, no matter how much we pressure them. We also need to vote. Imagine if we replaced that with this.
We need millions of people from one end of this country to the other to stand up and fight back. Our job is to transform our energy system and save the planet.
That's why our movement will elect Bernie Sanders president of the United States this year. We're going all in to help Bernie win the Democratic nomination and then presidency. But let's be real. There's a chance we don't succeed in making Bernie the nominee, and we will still mobilize in force to defeat Trump and his fossil fuel cronies at the ballot box on November 3rd. The stakes of this election are too high for our generation to sit this one out. And it's not just the presidency.
We have to get to 100% renewable energy in 10 years.
AOC's election was decided by just a few thousand votes, and she has totally transformed American politics. This year, millennials and Gen Z will be the largest voting bloc in America, and we have a plan to turn out in force to elect politicians up and down the ballot who will fight for the Green New Deal in every corner of the country. From farmer and educator Audrey Denny running on a Green New Deal for rural California in a historically red district, to movement champion Rashida Tlaib defending her seat in Michigan, we've got seats to win. It all starts with the same task: talking to our friends and neighbors, this time about the most important election of our lifetimes. Over the course of the year, we will be getting everyone we know to pledge to vote and strike in 2020. We'll collect hundreds of thousands of pledges and follow up with every single person, making calls and knocking doors to make sure as many young people as possible get out and vote. That way, we will register and turn out our generation in record numbers to put Bernie Sanders in the Oval Office and elect dozens of other Green New Deal champions across the country.
Let's get back to December 2020, 11 months from now. Millions of young people are preparing to strike. In response, President Sanders has introduced the first bill of the Green New Deal, the Federal Jobs Guarantee. It's an ambitious plan to put millions of Americans to work transitioning our economy to 100% renewable energy in just a decade. But sources say that Nancy Pelosi is preparing a net zero emission by 2050 resolution instead, just scrapping all the stuff about jobs and investment in communities that are struggling in favor of a non-binding target. It's easy to dream about all the good parts. But even if we elect a Green New Deal champion like Bernie for president, the fossil fuel billionaires will use every tool at their disposal to stop an ambitious, just Green New Deal from becoming law. And unfortunately, the last year has shown us that powerful politicians from both parties will stand in our way. Policy as bold and transformative as the Green New Deal has never been passed without a massive and disruptive social movement behind it. After the election, our movement needs to be ready to get out into the streets, take over schools, politicians' offices, and government buildings, and hold creative, non-violent actions in every corner of the country. And we aren't just talking about one march or one afternoon. We are talking about millions of people participating in massive strikes that bring society to a grinding halt. Building the huge, powerful movement capable of doing that starts right now. There is one day in just a few months where everyone will already be talking about climate change. It's going to be an unprecedented opportunity to bring thousands of new people into the movement.
A unique day in American history is ending, a day set aside for a nationwide outpouring of mankind seeking its own survival.
I'm talking about Earth Day. This year is the 50th anniversary of the original mobilization that turned 20 million people out into the streets on April 22nd, 1970. It was this revolutionary moment in American history that led to the largest sweep of environmental legislation that this country has ever seen. But Earth Day has changed a little in the last 50 years. It's been captured by politicians and corporations looking for an easy photo op and an easy talking point about broad support for the environment. This year, we're going to take back Earth Day. We'll join young people across the world for the largest climate strike yet. The biggest priority is to have strikes in as many places as possible. In our high schools, workplaces, universities, churches, and other institutions. And these strikes will bring home the urgency of this crisis and the hope of the Green New Deal to every person and town across America.
If we pull that off on Earth Day, we'll push the Green New Deal to be the top issue in the 2020 elections and bring thousands of people into our movement, laying the groundwork for winning the Green New Deal in 2021. Organizing for that starts now. Really, it starts with you. The first step you can take right now is to host a strike circle, a 6-week program to plan a strike in your community for Earth Day 2020. It doesn't matter where you live, if you're in high school, college, or the workplace, or whether you've never done anything like this before. Once you're in a strike circle, you'll get the tools to bring 5 to 15 people together, learn about social movements, gain core organizing skills, and gear up for a powerful Earth Day action. We'll give you everything you need, including sample meeting agendas, a dashboard to track your progress, and a coach who will help you every step of the way. Anyone can lead a strike circle, and we need strike circles all across America in order to become a movement that can win the Green New Deal. So to tie it all together, our plan this year is to organize, vote, strike. Right now, everything leads up to Earth Day, where we will pull off the largest climate strike yet. And then we'll turn towards the 2020 election and turn out our generation to vote in record numbers. And everything this year builds towards a massive youth strike following the general election to deliver an undeniable mandate to the incoming Congress and administration to enact a Green New Deal on day one. It all starts right now, with you. Maybe this is unlike anything you've done before. If that's the case, strike circles are meant for you. And this moment in history requires all of us. At some point this December, you'll be thinking back to 11 months ago about how you were sitting in this room, hearing about plans to take back our country and our future. How do you want to feel looking back? And more importantly, what will it feel like to look forward on that day?